Some of history's earliest recorded battles were fought by soldiers most people have never heard of. This is the story of the ancient Egyptian army, how it began as a scattered militia and ended up conquering an empire that stretched from Nubia to Syria. For most of Egypt's early history, there wasn't really a standing army at all. During the Old and Middle Kingdoms, local governors, called nomarchs, raised militias from farmers and laborers whenever the pharaoh needed troops, then sent them straight back to the fields once the fighting was done. Everything changed around 1550 BC, at the start of the New Kingdom. After foreign invaders called the Hyksos took control of northern Egypt, using chariots and composite bows Egypt hadn't fully adopted yet, Egypt fought back, expelled them, and never went back to a part-time army again. From that point on, Egypt built one of the ancient world's first true professional standing armies. The New Kingdom army was organized into large divisions, each roughly 5,000 strong, and each named after a major god. The divisions of Amun, Ra, Ptah, and Set. Each division combined infantry, archers, and chariots, so it could fight as a self-contained force. At the very top sat the pharaoh, almost always depicted personally leading troops into battle. Below him, professional generals called overseers of soldiers managed logistics, training, and command in the field. And the army wasn't only Egyptian. Nubian archers, famous for their skill with the bow, and later Shirdan mercenaries from the Mediterranean, fought alongside native Egyptian troops, making this one of history's earliest documented multi-ethnic professional armies. Egyptian soldiers carried a distinctive curved sword called the Khopesh, a sickle-shaped bronze blade built less for stabbing and more for hooking an opponent's shield aside or delivering a slashing blow. Archers used composite bows, built from layered wood, horn, and sinew, giving them far more power than a simple wooden bow. Infantry carried spears and simple shields of wood and leather, and for the elite, there was the chariot, a lightweight, two-wheeled vehicle, usually carrying a driver and an archer, capable of outmaneuvering slower infantry and delivering devastating volleys before wheeling away. Chariots were expensive to build and maintain, which meant chariot warriors were effectively an aristocratic elite within the army, closer to knights than common foot soldiers. Training began young, in dedicated military schools practicing archery, wrestling, and formation marching. Discipline was strict. Surviving records describe harsh punishments for desertion or cowardice. In exchange, soldiers received land grants upon completing service, along with rations of bread, beer, and meat, a level of state-provided support unusual for its time. And one of the reasons Egypt could sustain a genuinely professional fighting force for centuries. Two battles define this army's legacy. The first is the Battle of Megiddo, fought around 1457 BC under Pharaoh Thutmose III, widely considered the earliest battle in history, with a detailed, reliable account, recorded by scribes who accompanied the army. Thutmose took a risky, narrow mountain pass his own generals had advised against, catching a coalition of Canaanite city-states completely by surprise and securing total victory. The second is the Battle of Kadesh, fought around 1274 BC under Ramesses II against the Hittite Empire, one of the largest chariot battles ever fought. Ramesses was actually ambushed and nearly lost his entire army before rallying reinforcements to survive the day. Egyptian records called it a great victory. Most historians today agree it was closer to a draw, and it led directly to one of the earliest peace treaties in recorded history. By the end of the New Kingdom, Egypt's military dominance began slipping. Waves of mysterious raiders known as the Sea Peoples destabilized the entire eastern Mediterranean around 1200 BC, and Egypt never fully recovered its former power. In the centuries that followed, Egypt was conquered in turn by the Assyrians, then the Persians, then finally by Alexander the Great, each time absorbing more foreign military technology, until the distinctly Egyptian army of the New Kingdom essentially ceased to exist. Here's the twist most people don't know. That treaty after the Battle of Kadesh, born out of a battle Egypt almost lost, is the oldest surviving peace treaty in world history, whose full text still exists today. A copy of it even hangs in the United Nations headquarters in New York, presented as one of the earliest examples of international diplomacy ever recorded. An army built for conquest ended up producing one of history's first real steps toward peace. If that gave you a new appreciation for one of history's most underrated armies, subscribe. Lost Timelines finds a new one every week.